Yo, so what's good, everyone? Boom. Today was such a good day for me. Today was one of those days where you wake up and as soon as you open your chart up, it's like a setup is right in front of you. The thing is that I almost didn't have enough time to gauge, okay, what is exactly going on? Like, can I take this right now? So what I did very quickly before I took this exact setup, what you're seeing here. All right, but going into it, this 5 minute candle, look at it. Perfectly bearish, closed below the 13 and a 200 EMA with a lot of volume. Okay, I'm gonna take this off. Actually, not fuck that. On the 15 minute, the candle that closed at 8:30 was perfectly bearish, closed beautifully with a lot of volume. And if you look at the EMAs, they were crossing to the downside. So for me, this was an A plus setup. But because all this happened so fast before I could even make a decision, I was a bit hesitant on it. But one thing I did notice, like coming into the daily chart right here, is the fact that um, gold made all-time highs literally during London session. Okay. Oh no, got rid of it. Uh, yeah, basically. We made all-time highs during London session, and during New York is when we had our massive pullback because usually when we make a new all-time high, there has to be some sort of pullback after making those highs, and that happened to be exactly what I caught. But going into my screen recording here, I had a bit of a late entry because I'll be honest, like this happened again really, really fast. So I wanted to make sure, is this going to be a good setup? So my entry was hella late. Okay, so that's where I marked myself off some points because I was kind of doubting myself a little bit right here. But it's cool, it's whatever, it's part of the game. But I still got in and I managed myself accordingly. I was flipping through the higher time frames as I was in this trade because I was looking for, one reasons as to why wouldn't this work out, but also reasons why it would work out. The only reason why I was kind of like a little bit on the hesitant side is because on the 15 minute here, we had a 15 minute demand zone kind of sitting where I got in. And also the 200 EMA was sitting right here. So a lot of things could happen right in this area where the 200 EMA is. Not only that, flipping through the 1 hour, we also had a 1 hour demand zone that I end up marking out. Yeah, right here. It was a 1 hour demand zone with a 30-minute demand zone. And I was like, okay, there are a lot of things kind of stacked up against me, but I was still feeling pretty confident overall that this trade was going to play out. Um, as this trade was kind of unfolding, you see where the gray box is, that's basically the 1 hour demand zone that could potentially stand in the way of me winning this trade. Um, while this was playing out, I did not like the amount of wicks I was seeing right around here. But I think what helped me stay calm was the fact that I was already aware of what was happening. I'm like, okay, we're in a 1 hour demand zone. I can't expect too much. Okay. So I already went in with the mentality that I might potentially lose. But as this was happening, I did notice there was a 5 minute fair value gap, like you're seeing myself draw out right here, right now. And one thing that I've noticed on top of that as well is that we actually created a very clear break of structure right here. We see that red line. The body closed beautifully below those lows. And usually when we see that, that basically like indicates that we have established a new lower low. Because if the body didn't close below that previous low and it was just a wick, it could have looked like a liquidity grab. And given the fact of where we were sitting in a 1 hour demand zone, that could have been like a fat liquidity grab to the upside. You feel me? So in situations like that, I would be looking to exit much more quickly. But because we had a clear break of structure with the body closed below those lows, I felt more confident. And with the 5 minute fair value gap sitting on top of here, I was telling myself, like, okay, worst comes to worst, we might pull back into this area, kind of do some shit like this, and then make another leg down. But you know what? That did not happen. I even pull out the fibs and everything too to make sure, okay, we can pull back into there. But honestly, we just kept selling off. We just kept selling off the whole time. And as price finally broke through that 1 hour demand zone, I was like, okay, we are in the clear. Okay. And I remember that this 2948 area was an area I think where um I think with my last trade, I broke even on because we smacked that level really, really hard. So seeing price smash through this level gave me a lot of confidence to be like, okay, I believe we're in the clear now. And one thing I want to take note of, so as price was moving in my favor towards my first TP, um, I made the decision that, okay, I'm willing to take partials because of the way that it closed, like that. So once I saw how much volume came into this candle, and because it closed with such a beautiful full bearish body, I was willing to take just partials. And note the momentum that was stepping into this candle that was printing here gave me even more confidence to make that move. So as this candle is printing lower, you will see here in a second, you'll see me change my modified order to 2 as opposed to 3. So I'm willing to take profits right there. Because now I'm just confident. Like, okay, now things are really working in my favor. Up pretty decent on the day so far. Boom. So once I first take profit got hit, I was feeling pretty damn good about myself. But right around here is where things got interesting because there's not a lot for me to gauge from moving forward. Like, yes, we're selling off nice. Yes, I took some profits on a day. Yes, my stop loss is moving to break even. I am following my plan thoroughly. But the thing is that right around here, I wasn't too sure how much this thing was going to go. Okay. And there comes to a point where you have to kind of be honest with yourself is, am I still trading just to trade or am I just being greedy? Because I knew for a fact that I get to a point once I'm up pretty significantly on the trade that I will get a little greedy. So right around here where I marked this red line, that's where I took my first take profit. Okay. So I use that as like a gauge, like, okay, this is where it's at. Now I gotta be honest with myself because right here you can see on the 30-minute that we're kind of bouncing beautifully off the 200 EMA, and I didn't mark it up, but I noticed it that we have a 30-minute demand zone literally chilling right here. Okay. And that 30-minute demand zone broke structure to create that all-time high. So this would have been a good area for price to potentially bounce. Okay. So I didn't want to get too greedy. And again, like at this point, I just don't know where price is going to go. But I'm already up on the day. I took profits. My stop loss is at break even. This is a stress-free trade for me at this point. So moving in closer and closer. I made the executive decision. I was like, okay, if this candle printing can go below the previous candle low, I'll just get out. Because like you just don't know sometimes. And that's pretty much what I did. Once the candle printed below that low, I was like, I'm just gonna get out. Okay. Because intuitively, I just knew I just wanted to take my money and run. Because this is where my impatience starts to step in. And you know, I'm not trying to get my emotions like hella involved, but overall, this was a really, really good trade. I did take some points off for myself because of my late entry once again. But I'm glad that I trusted myself to still pull through with the trade and adjusted my risk parameters appropriately along with my take profits appropriately. So overall, this was a solid trade. If you come back into here, let's get rid of this real quick so you can see where my actual entries and exits were. All right. If you look here, this was my entry, right? Down here, late as hell. But you know what? My take profits were still here. And where I took my runner at below those lows was perfect timing because look what happened. Right around this area is where price started to reverse on me. So I'm glad that I trusted myself to know that, okay, let's just take profits here and let's run. Sometimes you will never know what's going to happen next, but you got to just trust your intuition. If your intuition is telling you, hey, just close this thing out, close it out. Fuck it. Like you're already up on a day. What more do you need outside of this? So I'm just glad I trusted myself throughout this entire process. But that's it for me on the day. I again think this was a great trade, not an excellent trade, but a great trade. And hope y'all got something out of this. I am done.